Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey!
So we got a special guest today. You know this guy. We have been following him for years. You know, he's been all over the place.
In a good way, I hope.
Doing this, doing that. So you know what? Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Dan Bolton.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's really cool to check out the studio.
Say what?
It's nice to check out the studio.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your time.
You are very welcome.
It's great to have you here. You got nice tattoos. First of all, let's talk about your tattoos.
Yeah.
So, what's the inspiration behind it?
Oh, do you know what? Actually, there is no real inspiration. This arm, yeah. Actually, this arm, no. I just gave the guy my arm and was like, just draw something. So I was like, how
I need a tattoo.
Yeah, I was like, how much is it going to cost me? And just draw, and he did. And it was like, like tribal, and it's loosely inspired by Maori culture, which is really cool.
When did you have this?
Oh, this one started when I was like 18. So like, how old am I? 20 years ago.
Right.
I started bits and pieces, and it started to grow. And then this arm is all mythical characters. So things like Phoenix.
Nice. I like that.
Britannia,
she's beautiful.
Yeah, Medusa. So it's like, the goddess. Medusa.
The goddess of whatever.
Yeah,
the goddess of the snake.
She turns people into stone or whatever. And then Neptune, my dad was in the Navy.
Yeah.
So like a seafaring character.
Really?
Yeah, so it's cute. Like, I want to get more.
Wow.
It's an addiction.
You got your own shared tattoos too, right? You want to share a couple of?
I have a few on my back.
I like this one on your arm, in your forearm.
Which one?
The one.
This one.
This one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got this a few years ago. I was in a music group, and we called ourselves the.
Did y'all see it on the screen now?
Disciples.
Yeah.
Nice.
There we go. That's a disciple. Oh.
Yeah. So I figured it was a nice name as well.
Yeah.
So just in case we broke up or whatever.
Yeah.
It would stick.
How much you got that for?
$10.
Okay, well, first of all, Dan, again, thank you for coming.
You're very welcome.
Let's talk about you now. So, first of all, your company has been around for how long?
So officially my company 5 years. Yeah, 2015.
Where's your office here in Dubai?
In JLT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've been here since like 2008. I was working with the previous agency as an employee.
Right.
And then worked with them for, I want to say, 7 years.
Wow.
And then decided to go freelance in 2015. And then to go freelance, you have to become legal.
Right.
So trade license, visa. And then before I knew it, I'd employed people. And I was like, how did that just happen?
And now you're a business owner.
I am a business owner.
Amen to that. Amen to, hey, cheers to that.
It's awesome, but it's probably the worst time to be a business owner right now.
Oh.
Wait.
It's like throwing shade.
Water? Oh, boring.
Someone forgot you.
Cheers. Hey.
But it's definitely a very interesting time to be a business owner right now.
Right.
That is for sure.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of happening now. Obviously, the coronavirus and
you're obviously doing something right, because in the events industry, your name gets brought up a lot.
Yeah, well, I hope that's a good thing.
It is a good
Okay,
thing.
fine.
Yeah.
It's like, it's him again.
I went to their office, by the way. They got a very nice office.
Yeah, the office is cool. It's quiet now because everyone's like away for the summer, and obviously with the pandemic and lockdown and stuff. But the life will come back again shortly.
It will. It will.
So
love the logo, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
a really good
classy, right?
A really good friend of mine designed it for me as a gift.
And
so when I started the company, he was like, "I just think you need a logo." He said, "Your other one's rubbish, so I created one for you."
That's nice. Awesome, good job.
It kind of coincides with the hype because black and yellow, black and yellow, baby.
I'm glad you guys like yellow, because I'd actually done it before. I went into a presentation with a client and put the logo up, and the whole presentation is black and yellow, and he was like, "Can you please turn that off?" I was like, "Why?" He was like, "I don't like the color yellow.
Really?
It's actually offending me." I was like, awkward. He's like, "Just talk to me. Just talk to me." So yeah,
my eyes are
I like it because yellow represents for me happiness.
True story.
Just like a lot of jiving, a lot of smiles,
and it's a very positive color.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be positive. Yeah. Anyway, it stands out. Yeah, much like yours.
Energy.
You established your agency in 2016, right?
2015.
Yeah, sorry. So 2015, and you were freelancing way back, and then
I was working with an agency, so I was employed. So I was working with a company and created that entertainment team. Pretty much when Dubai didn't really have an established.
Are they still around?
They are around, yeah.
Which company is this?
Well, it was a company called Bareface.
Oh, Bareface Entertainment, really?
So that's what I created. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, back in the day.
Okay.
So did all of that, and then you get to a certain point in your career where it's like, do I
Yeah.
want to work for somebody? Do I want to do my own thing?
Right.
And I went for my own thing.
But you're still good with these guys?
Yeah, like professional, amicable. Like we all support each other where we can.
Hey, shout out Bareface Entertainment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
just reach a point in your life where you're like, you know what, I'm wasting. I'm not gonna say I'm wasting, but
Yeah. You've used
I just want to use my talent
Yeah.
somewhere else and build something for myself.
Well, yeah, that's it. And I can be quite a difficult person at times. I'm very driven, very motivated. And I think it's very hard, isn't it, to like control that.
Right.
At
Yeah.
some point, you start to think, well, I'm hitting the age of 30 plus, 30 something. And at some point, like I want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. And again, we left very amicably. They really supported me when I started up the company.
Nice.
Wow.
It
That's
was
good.
a
That's awesome.
very,
shout out
very,
Bareface
very
Entertainment.
fair and transparent way. It was very nice. And
Yeah.
There are some companies, the minute you leave, they're like, oh my God, we're going to do everything in our power to destroy you. Trust me.
No,
there
it
are
does
out there.
happen. It does happen,
Yeah.
especially in this type of region. But no, we were very good, and I wish them all lots of success. And they have
Yeah.
been very successful.
Perfect.
They were also one of the pioneers, I guess, for the
Yeah.
model agency,
Right.
model
Yeah.
industry in particular, and also entertainment. When I joined them, nobody else was really doing it, and a lot has changed over the last
Yeah.
15 years,
Yeah.
longer. No, 13 years.
Especially in
Yeah.
events.
In events, the events
Yeah.
have become massive. So I did all of that, and then, as we were talking about before, very quickly I have to become legal. So then, you get all the
You got a
paperwork, you
license
get
and
a trade
everything.
license, and then you start getting responsibilities and hire people, and then
Right.
you almost become a father to 9 people,
Right.
which is where we're at right now.
So, if you would say, what is different about your agency amongst others?
I guess it's I would assume like the caliber of the people that we work with. We do a lot of international projects as well.
Right,
So we were talking earlier projects in Manila last year.
Yeah.
So we did the Southeast Asian Games. I
Yeah.
personally was on that as
Wow.
a segment producer.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
I was an associate choreographer for the Asian Games in Jakarta the year before. We've been working with Expo previously. We opened the Louvre Abu Dhabi with Jack Morton. So we do a lot of high-end government projects as well, but also as well on the smaller scale,
Yeah.
corporates, all of that side. I think what differentiates us between others, I guess, is also our network, our reach, and the people that we work with. We've collaborated many times in the past with artists that work for like Cirque du Soleil, for example.
Wow.
So like
Okay.
cream of the crop, top of the range people.
Right.
And amazing international choreographers and creative directors.
So
and-
far, from
Yeah,
all
a
of
lot.
these wonderful journey and all the big
Yeah.
projects, which one really stands out for you? Like, what is your favorite?
The favorite one I'm going to have to say was the Asian Games when I did that in Jakarta a couple of years ago,
Wow.
2018.
Wow.
Purely because of the story and the journey. It's the first time I've ever done a big project from start to
I
finish.
can imagine. Like,
I was
massive.
Yeah, massive. I was in Jakarta for 8 months.
Wow.
9 months. I lived there pretty much full time.
How's it
Almost
living there?
full-time. How's the weather? Hot. Yeah, it's tropical. Yeah, so it's hot and smoggy. We never saw the sky.
Really?
Yeah, because of the traffic and the pollution.
Yeah.
We never saw the sky really for quite a while.
Wow.
The blue sky anyway.
Hey, shout out to Indonesia, though.
Indonesia is one of the most beautiful places, and the
Yeah.
people are incredible.
Right.
But there was one particular segment that I was working in, and we had like 1,600 schoolgirls that were part of the performance.
Wow.
And it was a cultural performance that's normally performed by men. So to have women do it in a Muslim country was
Right.
obviously something quite different to what had been done previously.
It must be
And-
hard, you get
Yeah.
1,000 something people and try to teach them to synchronize in a choreography.
Was there
It's
like
crazy.
a language barrier?
Yeah, so we were working with an amazing team of local choreographers and translators that
Okay.
did most of the choreography and the work,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we kind of structurally put it all together and designed it in collaboration with them. But like you said, putting together thousands of people is a process.
It's a process.
So the performance was pretty much like lines of people, and there was like 55 people in each line. And we had to teach each line individually.
Right.
So they were like from a different school.
Right.
So we did it in segments, and then we brought half the people together, then we brought everybody else together. But when we did the rehearsals, it used to take us about an hour and a half to get people into the rehearsal, and an
Wow.
hour to get people out. So it was a system, it's a process, So there's
it's just a lot
many
of
people.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise you won't be able to.
Otherwise
to
it's
maintain
chaos.
yeah.
It's like herding
chaos.
cats.
True.
But the reason why that stands out for me, not only because it was incredibly beautiful, but there was one moment where the girls didn't fully appreciate and understand what we were trying to create. And then we took a drone in the rehearsal and we filmed it for the first time from above when we had everybody in costume. And then we showed it to the girls at the rehearsal the next time we saw them. And I have never seen 1,600 people simultaneously break down crying emotionally because of what they created. And we created all these formations and patterns, and it finally ended up with the Indonesian flag.
Nice.
And when they saw it, you could hear the gasp from everybody because they didn't appreciate and understand what they were rehearsing. For them, it was just choreography. But when you put the costume and the effects in, it turned into a masterpiece. And for me, that was amazing.
You were spearheading the whole thing.
So we were working with a really good agency called Five Currents. So we had an amazing staging director and choreo team, which was based out of Jakarta. Some of the team were from LA. We had people from Barcelona, from Mexico, Moscow.
The Asian Games.
So there's lots of internationals that came in supporting the local Indonesians deliver.
It must feel great, you know, for someone who's managed the project as big as this, and in the end, you see the results.
Yeah.
And you see how everybody appreciates the work that you've done.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, you know, feels so good.
I was a part of this.
It was incredible. So I flew my mum. So my mum came from Manchester all the way to Jakarta to come and watch the show.
Wow.
And I was really proud of it. So it's one of those things. It's like, I need you to see this. Because when I told my mum that I was going to run away with the circus or join events, she was like, nah, that's not a real job. You need a real job.
Yeah.
So for the first time when I flew her in and she watched it and she was in the stadium with 80,000 people that were like screaming because they were proud.
Wow.
She was like, finally, I understand what you do. I get it. And it was incredible.
And I appreciate it.
So, yeah, for sure.
You did just the opening or also the closing
So we
ceremony?
did the closing as well.
Oh, right.
So the closing was like a giant festival. So we had multiple artists from all over Indonesia perform. And then we choreographed this whole segment with two marching bands, the police and the military.
Yeah.
And they created all of these marching band formations, big trombones and instruments, and then finally spelt the word Indonesia in the middle of the field. But it was torrential rain. Like, we were in the middle of a rainstorm when the show was happening.
But the show must go on. You know, that's what you say. The show must go on.
And the rain was literally blowing in our faces. It wasn't like downwards. It was like monster. It was horrible.
That's crazy.
And
Man, I just a cold blow dryer.
There's this one bit where I think they create like a pyramid from the drums, and one guy has to climb up, and he gets the drum and he raises it, and you just see the camera shot, and he's just drenched.
Yeah.
And you can just see
crazy.
him like slowly on. He's like, I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Well, great stories, great memories. I'm sure going back home here in Dubai must have been like, oh, finally I'm back after 9 months. Yeah. Because you were like away for almost a year.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So going back here, what happened next? What was the next project? Like,
I actually can't remember. I mean,
there's been a lot.
There was a lot. Yeah. So we went into back-to-back, and I came back December time. So then headed straight into the event season for 2019.
Yeah.
And we did some really cool projects with like the guys from Expo, stuff at the Louvre Abu Dhabi. There was a lot, you know.
Hey,
the season
nice
has
to come back, and then you go back to the office and you get events back to back. You're like,
draft a contract now. Get your pen ready. We're gonna sign up with Dan Bolton and say, all right, Dan, we're available if you need personal assistance.
Trust me, you don't want to work for me or work with me.
Okay, so we know that this is your agency now.
Yep.
You know, we kind of like did a lot of big projects and all of that stuff. Now let's talk about the industry now.
Yeah.
From what is really happening, you know, we've seen a lot of, smaller agencies crumble. It's really sad.
Also, some of the big ones might crumble as well.
Exactly, might. So let's hope not, because we're talking about lives of people.
Yeah.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Families back home. Where do you see the industries going from here? Because we've been talking off air that it is coming back, and then there's some people saying, but this might happen. What's your personal thought on this?
It's really difficult because we always try to crystal ball, and we all have varying different opinions. And I think we just need to look at what's factually happening. Right. The reality is that events will come back at some point sooner rather than later. And obviously there will be a number of restrictions in place in terms of what they are. There will be guidelines and regulations. Right. First of all, humans crave that natural experience and want to get together.
Yes, sir. I agree on that.
We're very social beings, so I think
bump to that.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Is that like socially distanced?
Oh, we sprayed some sanitizer.
We did spray sanitizer, by the way.
We sprayed sanitizers, and we tested negative, just so you guys know.
So I think it's really important to remember that people do crave that, and people want experiences. And yes, digital and virtual has happened as a stopgap and a filler for that time when we couldn't be together, but eventually we will start to come together.
You're going to get to a point where, you're going to face a lot of problems. Some people might have shut down. Yeah. Some people might have had to send their employees back home, but you can't sit down and just dwell over it. If people have not come up with an innovative, a new way to survive during COVID in the fields that they love to do or that they work in, then that's time wasted. Because I look at that time as a gift somehow.
Yeah. I mean, that's true to a certain extent, but we've also got to remember, I guess, that nobody's ever really gone through this any time previously.
Yes, I agree.
And I think for a lot of people, myself included, I remember when we first kind of got the shutdown and we were like, what does this really mean? Like, nobody knew. And I'll be completely honest, at some point I thought, don't worry, this is just, it's going to...
Temporary.
It's temporary. It's going to finish in 3-4 weeks. And then it went a little bit more. And then we went into 24-hour lockdown. And then you go, oh, okay, this is serious.
If you would like think about it, 6 months just went by.
6 months have gone really quick.
It
actually.
did. It's been January until today.
I was going to say it's been the longest 6 months, but also the shortest in many ways.
Right, because November 2019, our friends, I mean, all of us, we were like, 2020 is going to be a bang.
This should have been everybody's year.
We're gonna bank. I personally said, you know what? I'm gonna have this much money in my bank account like halfway through 2020, and then here we are.
On paper at some point, and then they called me up.
Here we are, 2020.
We need to cancel our event.
Those zeros are still in my head.
2021. I was like, oh shit.
I think the big thing, the big takeaway from all of this is the learnings of what's just happened. Is that so many things are beyond our control, and they just happen. And I think going back to your point earlier, is like, unfortunately some businesses will close, and I think everybody's doing everything possible to make sure that theirs doesn't. And I think a lot of business owners and freelancers and people in the industry have had to make some really tough choices
and sacrifices,
massive sacrifices. And even on a personal level, there's certain things which I've had to do or go through over the last 3 or 4 months that I really wish I didn't have to. Those difficult conversations with your team who are with you throughout thick and thin, and say, guys, like, I'm really sorry, but it's getting to a point now where we have to consider unpaid leave or time off, and then you've got to look at them and think, well, how do they pay the rent? How do they feed? How will they survive? They've got children, they've got wife to look after.
This is what I have.
It's just basic survival.
I have to give it up to the companies that actually stood by their employees and said, hey,
100%.
You know what? Yeah, I have a friend of mine. He's obviously a billionaire. But he has a lot of companies and groups of companies and factories. And at some point when I asked him, I was like, so how's your company doing? He's like, nah, we shut down, obviously. And for the past month, we've taken all of our employees and we've put them in one of our, they had a piece of land. He built literally and overnight, like a staff accommodation for them.
Wow.
Put them there and he's taking care of them.
Hey, hats off to that.
For sure.
Really. And he told me, sorry to cut you off. He told me one thing. He was like, they're my responsibility. Like, I brought them in from abroad to come and work here. So whether I lose $1 million or $1 billion, I will make sure that they're okay. I wish like someone like myself or yourself or anybody who's an SME could be that'd be able to do the same. It would have been great, but.
Because I mean, the reality is financially, many of us are struggling.
Right.
Nobody could foresee that the industry would shut down for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So yes, people have money in the bank and you save for a rainy day and you think, oh, summer might be a little bit quiet, but this is completely unprecedented. And as a business, we've had to manage cash flow. We've got some people that we still owe money to. People, every single person will get paid.
Of course.
And we'll do that as quickly as possible. But the realities of it is the magnitude of what everybody's been going through has been so great that you really do have to make those tough decisions and do things which you otherwise would not necessarily do. And the only thing you can do is do it with empathy and protect people as much as possible and understand the pain and the pressures that everybody, and I think everybody, is going through right now.
But with all of this that's happening now, once we start picking up, do you think we're going to be kind of like louder, better? Because I'm thinking, from personal note, I was like, when this is all over, when we start picking up and coming back, we're going to have tons and loads of events coming up because we have to make some noise. There's going to be a lot of gimmicks happening left and right. What are your thoughts about that?
I think we just look at Dubai or the UAE in its history, and it is a very event-driven, tourism-centric, Emirate destination country.
Dubai.
Dubai and Abu Dhabi to a certain extent has a lot of cultural events and things, and you'll see that more and more. But Dubai in particular, for sure. And it does rely on those international visitations and people traveling through Emirates and Dubai airports. So I think with a great amount of certainty, we can guarantee that Dubai likes to go big. with it, whether it's the biggest, building in the world, the biggest shopping mall, the biggest firework display, the biggest whatever. Right. And I think that we will not lose that because that's very much Dubai's culture, very ingrained in what we do.
True.
I think what we'll see, especially in the short to medium term, is making sure we do that safely and doing that innovatively. And you can see that through Emirates and the way that they're trying to still maintain that experience level, but making sure that the staff and the customers within the plane or the air lounges are safe. And
we got drive-in cinemas now.
Well, yeah.
We had
it now it's back again.
Is it?
Yeah, there's one recently.
There's one. I think Mall of Emirates,
but they shut it down.
There's another one. I want to say. Really sure.
I just saw
Ema Hills. No, that's probably the wrong word.
No, they had opened one up in Dubai Mall. Then like 2 weeks after, and they shut it down.
It's in a different location now.
No, but now,
but the reality is,
we're trying.
I mean, it's great that people are innovative and
trial and error.
Yeah, but also as well, normal cinemas are reopening. So
I went to the cinema recently. I watched
one.
Well, there's no movies
bad
on.
Movie, but
one.
Hey, huh?
One.
Like 2-3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yes. I went and I watched The Invisible Man.
Okay.
So I didn't see anything.
Yeah. I hated my life, but hey.
There's 3 things now we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. First is the Aliyah, right?
Aliyah, yes.
Aliyah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So when did this kind of like start? Like, what's the history about it?
Okay, cool. So Aliyah started, I want to say like 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah. I can't remember the exact date.
You were the president, right?
I have been previously. Yeah, there's been a number of other presidents before me. Rebecca, Adrian, Paul now, myself, Lee. So it's a voluntary organization.
Okay.
And it's basically the events industry legal representative.
Okay. And you're like one of the founding fathers.
No. I'm actually I'm a member. I'm not a founding father. Okay. So there's other people which founded it before me, but I joined, I want to say 2017. I'm like trying to like figure out dates and stuff. But joined them. Worked in the membership team, VP of membership, became president-elect, president. And I actually wasn't a member for the last year, but I've just recently rejoined.
Okay.
And I think what's happening in the industry now is a massive opportunity for the events industry to come together and to really start evolving and creating the industry that we want it to be.
Which is what?
That's a very good question. It depends on who you ask, to be honest. But I think because the industry here is such a powerhouse.
Yeah.
You look at the rest of the world actually looks at Dubai as a pioneer and as a case study of how to do events. We do events good here, definitely. Yeah. We've got some incredibly talented people.
Very good.
I think the industry, and I'm going to criticize myself here, we're very fragmented. We all have our own, not necessarily agendas, but we're all working in different silos and we're all doing different things. And we're the first to complain. We're always, moaning and having an opinion and all the rest of it. And I think what's happened now, as you can see through the pandemic, is the events industry has been massively impacted and has really, and without critiquing anybody, but it's not necessarily received the support that it could have received anywhere else in the world.
I mean, they tried to appeal at some point, right?
Yeah,
but
going back to that, actually,
so any sort of response yet, but I'm pretty sure they will.
We're going to talk about that. That piece of paper that we saw in the INO community, which was, I think, authored by Harmeek Singh and Pachang, right? Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about it.
So we spoke to Harmeek actually on our podcast.
Mr. Harmeek Singh, we're going to have you soon on the show.
A couple of weeks ago, and I think. And this goes back to the comment I was mentioning previously about us all being fragmented and we're all working in different silos. Is that ultimately we're all passionate and want to be proactive about our industry.
Right.
And I think everybody was trying to do that. And again, myself included, with a group of people I was talking to and still do.
Yeah.
But we were all trying to achieve the same thing, but doing it differently. And then Harmeek and I got a Patch from Red Philo. Had a conversation with a number of other people, some of the big event companies here and suppliers.
Yeah.
And they'd created that letter, which I'm sure Harmeek will go through, in support. Well, actually, it was running parallel to a letter that Aliyah had sent to government to see what support could be, highlighted in the event industry.
Yeah.
And obviously, once it was revealed that Harmeek and the team were creating a letter as well, then it was like, well, we need to join forces.
Yeah.
So that's where Aliyah then collaborated and endorsed it. And it's not instead of, but it's a contribution to, and as well as the stuff which.
So do you think this piece of paper is going to do really good for all of us?
you know, it's a really interesting question, and many people have an opinion.
It's to a certain extent.
Because I've read it. I read it. I sent it to you. I wish we could flash it here.
Yeah.
No,
but
and
I think if anything, it will draw highlight to the fact that the industry has been massively impacted.
Right.
And should this ever happen again, we need as an industry to be able to put standards and processes in place in order to be able to have further support in the future. The question of whether these letters will make an impact now, I'm not too sure, because I think as we can see, the economy is trying to reopen, eventually trying to come back.
Right.
And we do know that anything in this country, you know, for multiple reasons, takes time.
Yeah.
And we're looking for short-term solutions to a problem which has long-term ramifications, but hopefully it's starting to get better quite quickly.
Sure.
So I think it's a great initiative that people and entities such as ILEA, and again, I'm not a spokesperson for ILEA, but I've been a member, and I know they can speak on their own behalf, but it's good that these people are taking the initiative to draw that attention to the challenges we face. The reality is that we will probably start to move quite quickly into a more recovery phase.
Yeah.
And where we're all trying to get more business back into the calendar. We want to start doing events again. We want to start earning our own money. You know, we don't necessarily need people for handouts or support, although it would actually be very helpful.
A bunch of government bodies have already taken certain initiatives by sending out, you know, tenders or sending out personal emails to some events management companies that they've worked with. Hey, please. I mean, me personally, I've received a few calls. I've gone down to Fujairah, Ajman, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and it will pick up at a certain point. It will take a little bit of time, but I'm sure before the end of the year, at least the events, you will see that the events are going to start rolling again and again.
And it has to be led by, you know, various entities within our industry that would, like you said, procure those services and give business to locally based businesses as well, and put it out to tender, and we can all go through that process and hopefully win projects.
Right.
But I think it's safe to say, and we can see this in the economy right now, that it's in everybody's best interest to open up as quickly and as safely as possible. Safety is paramount, and I'm sure that people are not going to do anything which is unsafe. We have to be very respectful of the fact that, yes, there has been a virus, there still is a virus, and it's still
I think it's never going to go away.
It's a present danger. And again, we have to, as industry professionals, act responsibly to make sure that our audiences, our cast, our crew, our people are all protected. So we're not going to do anything reckless.
Act responsibly.
Not
like certain people who
just
shoot,
whatever. Okay, so that was very interesting point. Now, I can't even put into words what I want to say, you know, like summarize what that is. But now let's move on to the next topic. You've been here for like 12 years now, right?
13, 14. Yeah, 14. Like I'm into my 14th year, I think. It's old, I can't count.
If you would look back from the first time you came here, you know, doing events and entertainment and whatnot, until today, what do you think is kind of like the biggest difference? Is there a gap? Were there a lot of good points way back that are lost nowadays? Would you change something?
Yeah.
So
that's a really good question. I think the big takeaway from all of it is that the industry has evolved massively, like beyond recognition. I think when I remember first getting here, even finding like a stilt walker or a dancer or, you know, a regular run-of-the-mill kind of performer was really difficult to find. Like it just simply didn't.
You only have one or two suppliers.
It just simply didn't exist. And that's why with Bareface, we created the entertainment division, because more and more people and clients were looking for that type of entertainment, but we couldn't find it. And you had people like The Fridge, you know.
I was just about to mention The Fridge.
Like, shout out to The Fridge. Nice people. Alex. Janae and all those guys.
And Shelley, you know, what they've created and what they've contributed to the cultural fabric of this city in particular is phenomenal.
Of course.
And have really pioneered, especially from the music scene, and really built that and come from a very grassroots position. I remember the first office in the warehouse like they had in Alcazar where they are now.
Of course,
So you can see you can see that evolution, and you can see that the caliber and the professionalism and the quality of the projects that people are working on now has reached a very international level. And if anything, it's actually superseding what we're seeing around the rest of the world. Many people now that I talk to are like, oh, you work in Dubai, like we want to do that, like we see your events, they're amazing, like how can we get involved? The amount of phone calls I've been getting lately, especially now because the rest of the world is not working, is phenomenal. And then you've got shows like La Pearl, you have
There's a lot of stuff going on.
There is a lot of stuff going on, and there's also things like the theme parks, whether it's Warner Brothers, Ferrari World, or Dubai Parks and Resorts.
And then we got Ain Dubai and Dubai Marine, right? The big
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's been
Caesar's Palace.
Yep.
And I've heard there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on.
There are still a lot of plans to open up more theme parks and more.
Well, that's
water
it,
parks,
right? Yeah, and I think so. You can see the entertainment landscape in particular has massively evolved.
Right.
The only challenge I'll say with that is that it's evolved at such a rapid pace that I think we've lost that community aspect. And again, I'm guilty of that myself. We all get so consumed with just trying to pay the bills and stuff like I've not spoken to Shelley from the Fridge for literally probably a year and a half, and I called her during the pandemic, and we sat and we had a chat and just chewed the fat about what's going on and what's happening within the industry. And it was really good to reconnect because we were in a position where we had the time to reconnect. But then obviously once we get back into events, we're probably all going to be so busy trying to manage and rebuild our businesses, we might lose that community. And Dubai is very transient at the best of times. And there's been many people that have been here from the beginning, from the middle, and people which are just joining now. And I think I would like to see that community somehow come back together again. And I think maybe that could be a benefit from the pandemic. Is through ILEA or through these podcasts or
and his Facebook page, the Eno page.
I
think it's very interesting because I always see a lot of new stuff. They're like, oh, hiring this, hiring that. And then you see a lot of people replying, recommending somebody. So I was like, you know what, this is really cool. This is like bringing everybody together. Like, if I can't do the job, I'm gonna pass it to my friend.
And maybe that's something again, like could be a positive out of COVID, because I think we all have to look after each other now.
Of course.
We're very competitive, don't get me wrong, myself included. But I think now that community spirit, hopefully, will start to come back a little bit more, and we want to see people succeed. Because a lot of people are hurting and going through pain. And I think as an industry, we need to work together to improve the industry, but also to improve each other. We need people to be successful. We don't want people. We don't want to see people fail.
Totally agree.
In the freelancers kingdom, or world, because I used to do freelancing a lot way back too. I've encountered a lot of undercutters. Guys who mess up the industry.
You're gonna take me there, right?
Especially the payday and all that stuff, and it all goes up even to the events industry too. What do you take on these undercutters? Because there's a lot of people who say, I'm an events company, but they don't have anything. They don't have shit. No license, no nothing. They just say, oh, I got a friend. He's going to subcontract it. But they say, oh, yeah, I'm an events company.
Warehouse.
So
production.
Undercutters. These people, they mess up the industry big time.
They do. Yes, they do. And I think this is where, again, maybe in a post-COVID world where we all start to come together again, I think we need to self-regulate and self-police our industry a lot more. So there's conversations happening with people like Charles Chaka, DJ, Infusion Magazine. He's got a collective of like 197 plus DJs and people within that demographic of the industry. Then you have ILEA as our trade association and body. We need to be promoting best practices. Everyone needs to be legal. Everyone needs to be operating ethically and fairly. It's a competitive market, so it's really hard to, I would say, put not necessarily guidelines about rates and performance fees, because everybody wants business, and we're all, we're competitive, and we're going to do whatever we can to win business. I think what we need to do is make sure we do it in a fair and ethical way, and just set, I guess, benchmarks of where rates are unreasonable. Because during the pandemic, I've had calls recently from big brands which are saying to me, we want to book you or book your talent or work with you creatively, but we can't afford to pay you, but we will give you, I don't know, free hotel rooms, or we'll give you something. It's like, none of the guys, like, we need paid gigs. Like, we're an industry. People should be paid fairly for their time and the creative and for their abilities. And that's a constant battle. And I mean, many people know this, but, delays in payments, and we're guilty of that right now. We have clients that don't pay. The cash flow situation for, I think, the entire industry is just completely decimated.
The thing is, you can't go after your clients and be like, hey, pay me now. I'm sorry, because you've been with them for years and you just want to keep that relationship there. We understand when you get it, you'll pay it.
But then they also have to understand that these people have livelihoods. They got mouth to feed. They got to bring food to the table. So it is what it is.
That's the big thing. I think, again, as an industry, we need to educate people more that it is a professional industry. And in order for us to shout that and to really promote that and to say, okay, well, we want fair payment terms, we want fair rates, we want fair this, we have to start operating legally. So I think as an industry, especially from the freelance world, where it is possible to work, not necessarily possible to work on a tourist visa, but people do work on a tourist visa, it's just not right. And if we're going to apply for grants in the future or look for further support in a world of pandemic or whatever, then you need to be properly legal in order to get that. I think where we as an industry fail is that we don't communicate that enough. We don't share that information, that share knowledge. We don't give people the solutions in order to be able to become legal or to operate legally. So I think that's where we need to self-police, and that is starting to happen with ILEA, with these collectives, the Creative Collective, and many different people coming together to say this is how we should be operating. Now, this is what we as a group have decided we should be doing.
Great. It's a lot of insights here, a lot of very intelligent answers and all that stuff. Information. We're like in a different horizon. Now, right? Dan Bolton is the man. Now,
one of there's many people. I think there's we have to a big shout out to everybody in our industry.
We're gonna have them on the show. All
get them in.
Yeah, we're gonna get them in.
There are a lot of people behind the scenes. I think I'm quite vocal,
unsung heroes,
and I'm out there like I'm putting my big mouth to use. But there's many. Well, I'm gonna say there's many people in the industry which are working really hard behind the scenes and creating some really good things.
Exactly.
And making sure that they can.
We're gonna celebrate those guys.
And I think we will do it at some point when hopefully this is all over, which it will be eventually.
I can't wait.
I think we definitely need to celebrate our industry.
We will.
Because I think one of the big things actually to take away from the COVID time is we're not frontline workers. No. We're not medical professionals. We don't stack the shelves. We don't drive the cars. And our industry, as we can see through the lockdown, has been seen and perceived to be non-essential.
Right.
And I think as creative people, that's really difficult because we love and we're passionate about what we do.
Actually, I was hurt when I've read something about, entertainment or like non-essential. I was like, but when everything was normal, we're the kind of people, we're the industry that brings fun to everybody.
Well, this
like,
is it.
Like when your family goes out, you think of, okay, where are we going? Oh, there's a balloon festival, there's a kite festival going on, there's a concert here or whatever. So when I read it, I was like,
everything shut
there
down.
Was no appreciation at all after everything.
But I think the way you can look at that is kind of like you accept it to a degree because we are the added luxury, especially from an event perspective. And people have been working hard throughout the pandemic to deal with that initial crisis. But who makes all of the Netflix that people have been watching? All of the performers which have been streaming from their bedrooms to provide content so that we can enjoy lockdown. If lockdown happened, 10, 15, 20 years ago, whenever, before the internet, it will be a very boring experience. But I think where we're going to come into our own is in a post-COVID world is when we bring people back together and how we do that, because that's when we become relevant again. Is how do we create those amazing experiences so that people can come back together safely and really enjoy music again, enjoy being with families, enjoy going to a sporting event, being in a stadium, cheering for your football team.
Getting some cotton candy with your mom and dad and just going to whatever, happening. Of course,
these are memories and people want memories. People want experiences. So I think once we get through this initial phase, then we become relevant again. And that's when we have a duty to be able to create really cool experiences for people to start enjoying life again, because we've not been enjoying it for the last few months.
I think the word we're non-essential is, for me again, I think non-essential is not the right word. I'd say we're just not the priority at the moment because there's a lot of things going on, which we totally understand. But to say like, oh yeah, you guys are nothing, we don't need you, that's like a low blow, if I could say, because you yourself and you guys, you got creative concept and all that stuff, and like what we said, we bring the fun outside,
and also the culture. Every country around the world, has a cultural relevance. There's a historical element to it, a performance element to it. We thrive on culture. We are cultural people. We are social people. So we are definitely essential. Unfortunately, like you just said, we're not as essential as we are. Sorry, we're not as essential as other people are. At this moment in time, but our time to really shine is going to come, and very quickly, especially as we look at Dubai as a perfect example. When it reopens for tourism and it wants to attract people to the city,
they will need people like us.
They need entertainment, they need culture, they need things to do, they need that content so that they can share it across the world to show that Dubai is open.
I agree.
And I think that's when we have to evolve though. We have to do it differently. And I think we have to step it up. Now is our time to step up and do something really cool.
I'm pretty sure once we get to that point, we'll get the support that we require from the government, from everybody.
Well, or we just support ourselves.
Right.
I'm a firm believer, if you want to do it yourself.
So, now, big question is, who was Dan as a friend, as a son, as a family member.
Yeah.
Not as.
Oh wow, this could go really deep.
Not as
the brand
Dan Bolton.
Yeah.
Like, who were you as a kid growing up as a person? Like a real Dan.
So I think for me, like the real thing is I come from a very humble background,
right?
From North Manchester, very working class, and I think that's probably why I work so hard right now.
Right.
As a kid, my first ever job was at the age of 13. I was illegally working in a bar as a barman. I've always worked, and I've always had that mentality from my parents, I guess, to like you need to go out there and you need to build yourself into something. Because I didn't come from a background of money or opulence or that ability. Yeah, I ran away with a circus literally when I was pretty much 16 years old.
Doing what?
What were you doing?
Fire breathing, stilt walking, a clown.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. So that's
Yo.
Yeah, literally. That's why I think I cough all the time. I damage my lungs.
Yo, hold on a second. How do I do that?
So you put like paraffin in your mouth or fluid, and then you literally hold it there like hamster cheeks and blow. Wow. I actually just taught myself in the bath. So you sit there in the bath with the bath water and just like spit.
Really?
Yeah, bizarre. Best place to learn fire breathing is in the bath.
Could you like use like say for example like whiskey or something?
Or you don't. You have to use like real alcohol. So you like terps, like paraffin. Or you have to be really careful. It's dangerous.
So what have you?
I've set myself on fire twice.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So yeah, be careful, everybody. But if I've known people which have accidentally swallowed the paraffin and had to go to hospital, and it's dangerous. So first of all, I would say I went to a circus school. I got taught how to do it. People were telling me, hence why I was in the bath with water. Don't go out buying terps and just thinking you can fire breathe because you can't. Like you will hurt yourself. So please don't do it.
Wow.
You just reminded me of a video that went viral of this girl. She was having a shot of B-52 and she lit it on fire. She went on fire. Oh my god.
Yeah, Darwin theory. So that's like, then I moved. So I did that up until 2008, moving to Dubai. But the real me, I'm actually quite a hermit, to be honest. And that's really weird coming from someone that's got obviously a big mouth and a brand and is out in Dubai and speaking at events all the time. But when I finish work, I'm pretty much exhausted. So I like to go home. I like to chill out. I'm a bit of a news geek, which is not good right now. Yeah. Current affairs, news, serious documentaries. Like
I think, wanting to be updated with the news is kind of like in our DNA. Like if you're working the events industry, you want everything that's happening new.
Yeah.
Like you want to get updated into that, right?
Yeah, but the problem is right now it's just too much. And also you're bombarded, I guess, with lots of negativity.
Yeah.
It's not a positive thing anymore. So it's like I'm trying to really distance myself from that. But then other things, I like to go to the gym as much as I can, but I have a Cinnabon addiction, so that's pretty, and I like food. Good. I'm a big foodie, so I definitely love food.
Hey,
I love going to restaurants.
Look no further. You got two guys here who love food, so we gotta go get some snacks soon.
Yeah.
So Dan Bolton from North Manchester.
Yeah.
Humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Started with circus, and now you got your own brand.
Yeah.
If you would have changed anything with this journey in your life, what would that be? Or would you say you had some regrets in the past that you wish you did?
I've got massive regrets. But you know what? Like, I actually wouldn't change anything. Not one single thing. So I actually think you learn a lot from, obviously, the mistakes that you make. I mean, I make mistakes every single day.
Yeah.
And I always go home and I'm like lying in bed going, I could have actually done that differently. And then you either work to rectify that mistake or you move on from it.
You just learn how to do it better.
Of course. Yeah. I think that's what we all do every day. But I've had some of the most incredible experiences from the projects I've worked on, from the people I've met, from the travels. And I can honestly say that up until now, the day I die, I won't sit there and be like, I wish I did something different. I think I've done everything. I'm doing everything that I want to.
And you still have a lot.
I still got a lot. Hopefully, I'm like 39 years old, so hopefully I've got a lot more to go. But I think the biggest, not necessarily regret or challenge, is that we all have families that don't necessarily live here.
Yeah.
So when I see my 3-year-old niece and she's sending me a Zoom call or a video on Facebook, like I miss my family now.
Yeah.
And, not that I didn't before, but before I didn't really... I was quite selfish, I guess, in a way, where it was about my adventure. And now, my parents are getting slightly older. My sister's settled.
God bless them. God bless mom.
The older you get, the more closer you want to get to your family.
Yeah. And I, especially during the pandemic, the fact that we're all on lockdown, every country pretty much in the world, and we're restricted on travel. Yeah, I miss my family, so I need to spend a bit more time with family. I think family and friends.
You should.
Yeah,
True. And again, I haven't seen my family since 2014.
Oh wow, man, you need to get that fixed.
Yeah,
I
need 6 years, bro.
Yeah, but also friends, and again, in Dubai, we know so many people, of course, because it's a very social city.
Yeah.
And many people leave; they go off to somewhere else, whether it's like Toronto, that's
people
UK,
come
whatever.
and go. People come and go.
And I think I personally now want to make more of an effort just to make sure that I'm still engaged with people and talking to them, because when you own a business or you work in the events industry, from my perspective anyway, is you often neglect people because you're too busy focusing on, you know, your business, your task, you know, pleasing somebody else.
It's important to keep your sanity, you know, to connect with people once in a while.
Whatever keeps you humble.
Yeah.
And that's also a good point, actually. You mentioned sanity, and I think mental health throughout all of this, and everything which we're all going through right now, is going to be something which we need to address and to look at and support each other a bit more, I think.
Like I used to be a workaholic. I would just sit at home, nighttime, daytime, laptop. But I realized at some point, my friend called me. He's like, where have you been? I was like, I just saw you the other day. No, we saw each other in December.
Wow.
And it was like 6 months before. I was like, oh my God.
Went by so
realized that I did a mistake.
Yeah. And
I made it a point to see them once a week.
You have to. I got to the point where people would stop inviting me to things because I just wouldn't turn up. You know, it was like, oh, Dan's going to flake, so why bother?
Yeah.
And again, that was just because of pure exhaustion, and you're working, or you're at an event, or a client calls you and you've got to do a budget, or
you just get caught up with so many stuff happening around now.
And I think that's been a nice pause, actually. Again, we don't want to keep talking about the virus, but we were forced into that position. And I think hopefully, we won't go back into that bad habit. We should actually spend time with friends and family more.
Right. Yes. It's all about human interaction.
Indeed.
Now we talk about, you know, the virus, like your company, your background, which is amazing. Hats off.
Thank you very much.
Where do you think we are going to move from here? Like your agency, for example. Where to go from this one? Like, where are you headed to? Are you going to go into this new trend? You know, people saying, you know, we're going digital. We're going to go
new normal.
Yeah, the new. I don't believe in the new normal.
It's just a different normal. It's just normal.
Yeah, for me, it's just adaptability. If I could say that.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't that our industry? We adapt every day.
Yeah, we adapt and we just, you know, go to some new stuff. But do you believe in this, quote unquote, new normal thing and virtual stuff?
No. That's the short answer. I believe that technology will play a much bigger role in our lives, which it has done. Yes. And I think we're starting to see this marrying of the virtual digital world with the real world, which is great because it opens up a massive amount of opportunity. Yeah. I guess, you know, you as a presenter, you could expand your audience exponentially by opening up to international people that don't necessarily get to go to your event, but can watch it online through streaming or through video or content.
Yeah, that could happen. But still, we were talking this one before we started filming, that nothing beats human interaction, like actually touching you, shaking your hands, or talking like eye-to-eye contact. Nothing beats that, no matter what kind of HD or smart TV or whatever techie stuff you have.
Well, that's why, again, what we were talking about previously, I think eventually we will come to that point where people come back together again. And they are doing already. And I think it's really, really important. So I don't believe in we're moving to a new normal or we're all becoming digital. I think digital will start to play a bigger role in our lives, but we still will continue to do everything that we're doing previously.
Right. Great talk. Great time. Great personality.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you for the invite, by the way. Good luck with the podcast.
Appreciate that. Do you want to promote your agency? Like, there's a lot of people watching for sure. Like,
I mean, just check me out. I mean, many people know who I am. Check me out on Facebook and just get in touch, you know.
Right.
We're always keen to speak to anybody. So if anybody wants to talk and just see, you know, what we can do within the industry, and
yes, sir.
I think finally, this is a good time for us all to come together now, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
To speak on podcasts and to the agencies
right now, because, you know, I keep on getting all these big inquiries from Abu Dhabi, from the crap.
Call me.
From certain people. Okay, and the thing is, I always turn it down because I'm like, it's too much of.
Let's collaborate.
Yeah, you know, collaboration is key.
This is going to be a thing now, and I really hope this builds, but it becomes, I guess, an authentic, tangible collaboration.
Yes.
Not just collaborating because we're all forced into it right now, but I think there's definitely scope for us to be working together.
There's enough cake for everybody.
Because
there is actually,
it goes down to 2 or more brains are better than 1.
Yeah,
that's just about it. No, whatever deal comes into it, just whatever. But Dan, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. One last thing, what advice would you give the events industry if everybody's watching now?
Oh, wow. That's a very good question. I guess right now, just don't give up hope. And actually just, try and remain as positive as possible, because we are very negative right now, which is fine, of course. Like, it's completely acceptable. But, our industry is vital. People will come back. We will continue to do great things in the world.
Yes, we will.
People want music. People want culture. People want experience. We want the live environment, want live experience. Right. So one thing right now is a lot of people are probably thinking, how do I survive? How do I pay the bills? How do I do this? And probably made some really, really not bad decisions, harsh decisions over the last few months just to survive, but it will get better.
It will get better.
I think just try to remain positive. We have to be positive. We can do this.
Yeah, and if there's events people out there, or not just events, but anybody, if you need to talk to somebody, if you want to just get your steam out of your system, go talk to somebody.
I think
take a call
for sure. I think the big thing which we need to really start to address is the people which are entering the jobs market right now. So anybody from school, from college, whether they've been learning how to get into the events industry. At the moment, there's just simply no jobs available. And I think we just need to be making sure that we still find an opportunity to get people into our industry.
Yes, sir.
And how we can maintain the lifeblood and how we can work with the challenges that we have right now by making sure we still, I guess, incorporate people and create our own opportunities.
Right,
I agree.
Yeah, we don't want to lose a generation of really good people that we would have really wished to join our industry.
You know what they say? This too shall pass.
It will do. Well, hopefully sooner.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, thank you.
It's been amazing, Dan Bolton.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Appreciate it. He's the man.